My name is Maddie Boardman and I'm a solution-focused hypnotherapist at Old Town Hypnotherapy in Swindon. Today I'm going to be talking about anxiety and the effect anxiety can have upon the bladder. At Old Town Hypnotherapy in clinic, it's not unusual for clients to present with symptoms of anxiety that focus on their bathroom behaviours. The fear of needing a toilet and not being able to have access to one can have quite a debilitating effect on a person's life. Sufferers may restrict the kind of activities that they are happy to do, or they might start opting out of fun activities because of this fear of not being able to find a bathroom. The increased burden of coping with this fear, the embarrassment of what could happen can lead to feelings of low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and increased levels of anxiety. So why does this happen, and what can we do to help alleviate it? Well, most of us have been in a situation where we feel nervous or we feel apprehensive, and our reaction will be to find the nearest bathroom. We know that stress or anxiety can have an effect on our bladder and on our bowels. We're not going to be talking about the effect on the bowels here today. We're going to be focused on the effect on the bladder. Now, there are two types of what we might describe as anxious bladder. And the first type is what we would call instant urination. And the second is frequent and sometimes urgent urination. So the first one, instant urination, is instant. It's an involuntary, complete voiding, complete emptying of the bladder. And although fairly rare, it is a common symptom of severe phobias, sometimes part of post-traumatic stress disorder, and even in extreme cases, panic attacks. This is a reaction to a profound fear or absolute terror, which overloads our nervous system as it activates our ingrained fight, flight, or freeze response, and it switches off our bladder control mechanism. Simply put, the body has more important things to do in that very moment, that moment of survival, than to waste energy and resources holding on to urine. If we go back to caveman times, well, cavemen didn't really grapple with the issues of embarrassment. But in modern life, instant urination can cause significant emotional distress. The second and more common anxiety-related urination issue is frequent urination, sometimes urgent urination, needing to urinate more often than normal without necessarily having drunk any more than normal. And we know that when we feel anxious, we release neurotransmitters in our brain, stress neurotransmitters such as adrenaline or cortisol, and they prepare our body to face the real or imagined threat that occupies our thoughts. And these threat, this fear, causes muscles in our body to tense, ready to fight or to run. And this tension throughout your body puts pressure on your bladder. Your muscles are literally tensing up, contracting, and this puts pressure on the bladder. And the bladder itself is essentially a muscular sac. So the bladder itself is tightening. So it's no surprise that we start to feel the need to empty. Your pelvic floor, also a muscle. So that tightens when we get tense and anxious, and that in itself compresses on your bladder, and the result is needing to urinate, or the sensation of needing to urinate. What we know about people who suffer with anxiety is that they are hypersensitive. They are hyper alert to any kind of change, both in their external environment or in their internal environment. What's happening in their body. This hypersensitivity may mean that they notice a mild need to urinate, that when they're in a relaxed state they wouldn't even notice, but when they're in an alert, anxious state, they register it, and it gives them the feeling that they need to visit the bathroom more frequently than normal. We also know that anxiety alters your body and brain chemistry. And every system in your body is affected, including your digestion. And it is possible that this change, these chemical changes on a cellular level in our body, causes more fluids to be passed through your body. So you do actually need to go to the bathroom more frequently. And there are other theories as to why we experience frequent urination at times of stress. For example, the theory that with less urine in our body, the lighter we are and the faster we can run from the saber-toothed tiger or whatever it might be that's terrifying us. And it could be that frequent urination is simply a milder version of the instant urination. So the fear isn't quite intense enough to have that dramatic instant urination, but enough to send messages that we need to empty frequently. Whatever the causes, these changes in function often result in feelings of loss of control, shame, frustration, and embarrassment. We then get into a catch-22 situation. The anxiety causes the need to go to the bathroom and is further heightened by not being able to find a bathroom in time, which means you need to urinate more. The anxiety and the need to urinate spiral. And the fear around finding a toilet in time means that sufferers can often spend a significant amount of time planning their routes, planning their day, trying to ensure that they can access facilities at all times. And their stress of what might have been a pleasant activity becomes into a bit of a military operation, and they decide to opt out altogether. And over time, this can lead to further mental health difficulties, such as depression. So the first step, always go to your GP, rule out any underlying medical condition for the increased need to urinate, or indeed the instant urination. If your condition is diagnosed as anxiety-induced, you may consider ways to reduce your daily stress burden to help alleviate the anxiety. It may be that you'll look for help for that. And at Old Town Hypnotherapy, what we would do with somebody presenting with these problems is we would first determine if we were dealing with a simple, isolated fear or a more complex anxiety issue. We would work with an individual to make healthy changes both in their daily lives and in the way that they're thinking about things. We would focus on what we describe as the 3 Ps, the 3 maintenance areas, if you like, of mental health. And they include positive activity. Top of this list is exercise. We know exercise is good for our mind and body, but it also is, we're talking about being purposeful, being productive, having a healthy daily routine. The second P that we discuss is positive interaction, spending time with people who make you feel good. And the third thing is positive thinking, learning to choose your thoughts with care. The 3 Ps encourage our brain chemicals to be healthy, and this in turn helps us to regain control over distorted thoughts, reducing our overall stress burden. We talk a lot about the brain and those chemicals within our brain and the effect they have on the way that we feel. We would use modern hypnotherapy techniques to help the brain to reclassify activities, outings outside the normal daily routine as safe. Focus on what's great about them, what's fun about them, so the body can remain in a relaxed state and the need to urinate normalizes. If you would like further information on how we can help, we offer completely free, no obligation initial consultation, either in our Swindon clinic or in our newly opened Cheltenham clinic or online. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.